if you've been watching the show today, holy cow. I mean, it's a madhouse here. First of all, we have all these people behind me. They're trying to print the tax code and see if we can make it by tax day. I don't think we can. Also, David Buckner was with me. He's a friend of mine. He's a professor at Columbia University, or a teacher there. And he passed out on camera. And what is so amazing, we were just talking about this, that all the people on the set, they just kind of went down, and I finally had to say, can somebody help me here? Everybody thought it was just part of the show, because this show is, you know, you never know what to expect. It wasn't, but I just saw him in the commercial break, and the EMS is with him, and he is totally fine, and he apologizes, and I'm like, are you kidding me? The ratings will be through the roof. So he's doing fine. All right. Do you remember a few weeks back, pretty much everybody was mad at those evil AIG executives who dared to take those bonuses that were in their contract after working a year for $1. No one was louder than the politicians who are looking to capitalize on public outrage. Connecticut Attorney General Richard Blumenthal was so upset that he subpoenaed the companies for names of the bonus recipients, and he was going to release them. That was great, except for one teeny little problem. So I asked him this question. What law did the AIG executives break when they took those bonuses that were mandated by a legal contract?
The AIG executives did not themselves break a contract.
So then why were you going after them?
Well, we're not going after
them. No, you were.
We're going after the bonuses.
Yeah, well, it's their bonuses.
We're never going after the...
No. Their bonuses, sir. They are their bonuses. They earned that money. What right, what law did they break that gave you the ability in Connecticut to go after those bonuses?
Well, let's take it one step at a time. The money they received came from us, the taxpayers.
Oh, I know how this works. I'm asking you, sir, you're the Attorney General. I'm asking you for the law that they broke that gave you the ability. Are you not the defender of the law in Connecticut?
The law that they broke,
yes,
is the law that requires that they serve the public interest, that bonuses,
what law is that?
Are paid.
Wait, what law is that, sir? Yeah, for some strange reason, he couldn't really nail the law that they broke. Yeah. Now the Connecticut Consumer Protection Commissioner says the state has no legal authority over the AIG bonuses under Connecticut's Unfair Trade Practices Act. Commissioner Jerry Farrell Jr. says his office conducted an exhaustive investigation and analysis of the case law, and AIG documents found they do not have jurisdiction over the issue. He added, quote, while I agree with many people who believe an injustice was done awarding these bonuses, I cannot twist Connecticut law in an attempt to remedy the situation. Thank you. A top aide to the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton may also have received a bonus from another company, Citigroup, after the bank was bailed out. Washington Times investigative reporter Jennifer Habercorn has the story now. Jennifer, can you fill us into the details?
Sure, Glenn. At least one member of the Obama administration may have received a bonus from Citigroup. Jacob Lew, who's a Deputy Secretary of State, filed a vague report with the Senate in January that he received $1.1 million in compensation from Citigroup and then was eligible for bonuses. He didn't provide any details. We went to the White House and the State Department asking if he, in fact, did receive the bonus and accepted it, and they declined to answer specifics. Now, of course, if he has received these bonuses, it raises some obvious questions with watchdog groups, namely, firms that received bailout money, which came from taxpayers, shouldn't have given out bonuses after they received that money, according to these groups and some of the American public.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll read about it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Now, here's a case study of law of unintended consequences. Now, let me change that. This is a case study of how government screws things up. They say they're helping solve a problem, but they're only creating a problem or making it worse. The government's favorite topic of addressing global warming through green initiatives. Back in 2005, gee, who was president that? I know, George W. Bush. Congress passed and President Bush signed a $244 billion transportation bill, which included a bunch of tax credits for alternative fuels like ethanol, which in 2005 I was saying, this is crazy. It also included a 50-cent a gallon credit for fuel mixing, you know, regular fuel, combining it with alternative fuel, the taxable fuel. Whole thing supposed to cost you $61 million. So why did one company, International Paper, get a $71.6 million check last month for 1 month? Well, much of the paper business is already being run on alternative fuel. They use wood chips, but that doesn't qualify for the fuel blend credit. So what are the companies doing? They're adding diesel fuel to the mix and then claiming the tax credit. In fact, tax credits have become more profitable business for these companies than actually selling paper products. To review, paper companies are using alternative fuels without government help. The government creates a tax credit, and that encourages paper companies to add fossil fuels back into the mix and get paid to do it. Your government tax dollars at work. And for those of you who think I only take on the Democrats, again, I remind you, this was originally done by George W. Bush. And then actually it's extended, you ready for this one? As a part of TARP. What do the green initiatives have to do with bailing out the banks? Oh, I wonder if we missed that when we passed it in the middle of the night. Bad ideas are completely bipartisan, I promise you. With me now is Chris Horner, author of Red Hot Lies, How Global Warming Alarmists Use Threat, Fraud, and Deception to Keep You Misinformed. Boy, it was freezing at my house this weekend, Chris. I was up in Connecticut with my in-laws, and man, it was just freezing. This global warming has got to stop because, it's chilly.
I don't know if you heard, Glenn, but cooling is now entirely consistent with what we should expect
for
global warming, and that actually is an argument being made.
My favorite quote is, this cooling only proves how warm the planet is actually getting. Okay, so bring me up to speed on this fuel blend. This is something that I said at the time when George Bush and the Republicans are pushing this thing through, what are you doing? And look, here it is biting us in the butt.
Okay. Well, Congress is the ultimate slow learners club. The alternative energy or renewable energy provisions passed under Jimmy Carter, in hindsight, turned out to largely go to solar panels to heat swimming pools in Southern California. But time heals all understanding, and we're trying to repeat that mistake. In fact, we're doing it at great expense to the taxpayer now. Directly related to something you just said, in Europe, the cap-and-trade scheme, some companies have shut down or idled their operations and gone into the business of producing nothing to sell their ration coupons because they use a lot less energy that way. So here we have a provision that gives you a tax, true story, it gives you a tax credit for certain alternative fuels. It is a special interest provision designed as a SOP to give millions to certain companies, and now some people are outraged that other companies are getting in on the fund. But this is the problem. Our outrage is misplaced on the specific. It's the general serial intervention by Congress in an economy that they clearly do not understand, regulating industries that they also clearly do not understand.
Well, you know what it reminds me of, Chris? I don't know if you know much about the Second World War, the Great Depression, but this is what, and we're doing it now, right now. You'll pay farmers, the federal government will pay farmers to not farm their land because tilling the soil kicks up too much CO2, and so it's actually pollution. So farmers are now setting land aside and making it idle. We are coming into a place, again in this country, where we're paying you to do nothing. This is crazy. It can't last.
It's worse.
Wow.
Those are called no-till provisions, and they're being used to bring the agriculture community in to accept certain what are called rents in order to support schemes like cap and trade. They've been paid, for example, to grow windmills instead, even when the law didn't require that the windmills be hooked up to the grid. Okay, but they're paid very well by the taxpayer to do certain things because Congress is trying to pick winners and losers, politically divining what is an acceptable energy source and just causing havoc in the process.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to get a handle on, you put windmills in it and you get paid for it, but you don't have to plug them into the grid?
Right. Congress and state legislatures are probably the last people we want writing laws, but that's what we have.
That's what we have. Okay. Waxman, he's in the progressive caucus that America needs to learn about. He's got a new bill out where he is trying to allow people to bring lawsuits against the federal government if you have future damages because of global warming. And at first I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, if the government is responsible